Hello friends, Ashton here. So in this video I'm going to introduce OneScript for Google Slides. Okay, so let's just open the sidebar here. And currently we have three features in the Google Slides. So the first one is called custom shapes and groups. So basically in this feature we allow you to use a Google Slide file, okay, basically a presentation file on your Google Drive. You can use it as a library for your custom shapes. So what I mean by that, so here, so by default, I already created a library for you. So you're going to have this, by default, you're going to have this custom shapes and groups in that file, but you can use this update URL. So use your own file to, you can use your own file, right? So if I open this file for you, so you will see I already created some custom shapes in this like a library for us to use it, and you will see I created some custom shapes like if you want to create a bottom, like a rounded bottom like shape like this, so you need to adjust the radius. But in the default, like for example in these shapes here, you can create one. So by default, the radius is like this. But if you want to make it like a pure shape, you can use it. You can add it to this library, and then we can use them in any presentation or in any slide with our add-on. So like for example, if I'm trying to insert a butterfly field. So what I mean butterfly field is basically this butterfly shape custom. So this is a custom group. So they are grouped together, and so there are basically two categories. So one is these shapes, and one they are groups. So basically these groups are basically a group of shapes, and then so if I'm trying to insert this butterfly field, so you will see it's going to insert into this presentation. So basically, you can maintain your own library, and then you can use it anywhere in Google Slides. So that's basically the basic design idea. And one more thing about this feature, you need to know how to define your own custom shapes. Like for example, if I'm trying to add a new one, so I can create a shape like whatever, maybe this is number 6. So you create a shape and then maybe give it a fill of this color, fill color, and so when you have your shape or group created, so for the shape, so you right click and go to the alt description, alt text. So basically we are using, so let me just open this one for you. So you will see here we have a description, and in the advanced option, I think this is the title. So I think we are using the title. You are using the title as a key, because if I open the sidebar here for you, let me show you here. I think it's better here. So I think this name here, I'm using them, as you can see, rounded for. So basically give it a name, like, let me just give it a name. So I think I'm using this one. So this is a test shape. I think we only need to put it here in the title. I think I'm using title in the code. So if I go back, and I think I need to do a refresh. And this time, and you will see I have this test shape in the sidebar here, so I can insert it into the slide like this. And for the groups, so for the groups, a very similar idea, but the groups, you have to group all your shapes together. So like, let me just do another quick custom groups. So maybe shape, this time I'm going to try to use this one. and I'm going to transform this by kind of shape like this. So I can, and I first need to select either. So you just need to define the title for any of these elements or shapes in this group. Okay, so right now it's not grouped, but before you group them, select any of them, any element in this group, and change this to test. Let's say this is not in the description, in the title. So this is a test group. Then I just need to select all of them and make them as a group. And you can use this shortcut if you want. So I can maybe change the color if I want. Fill the color. And if I go to the sidebar, same thing here, I need to refresh it. So we can reload the data. And here we have this test group and insert test group. And then you will see we have this custom group here. So you can use it anywhere in the Google Slides. Okay, so this is about the custom shapes and groups. All right, so let me go to the second one called Grid Shapes. First, let me just delete all of these shapes here. So this one is basically a way for you to lay out your shapes on this slide, on the page a little bit easier. So we are trying to lay out them like row column method, like grid. Okay, so like for example, if trying to insert a rectangle with 2 by 2 or a rounded rectangle 2 by 2, and here, so this is columns and rows, and the gap between shapes. So this is going to be the space between the shapes, and you have this margin. So the margin is going to be the distance between the edge of the page to your element or to your shapes. And then I designed this, I basically limited, because we have a lot of shapes, so I think they're commonly used, so I put it here, and then I can apply. So there are going to be, basically the script is going to do the calculation, and with the basic design, the width of your page, the height of your page, and the margin you gave them, and the gap you gave them, and the rows and the columns. And the script is going to do the calculation, and basically going to do the grid layout for you for all of the shapes here. Okay, so in this way, if you select a shape already, so because right now, in the first time I did that, I didn't select anything because there is nothing on this page. So the reference is going to be your whole page. And if I selected a shape here, and this time, if I'm trying to insert it again, this shape here, this selected shape is going to be used as a reference. So the width of this shape and the height of this shape is going to be used for the reference. And this time, I think the margin to the page is going to be ignored, but the gap, we are using the gap and the rows. So this time, if I'm trying to do it again, it's going to be a smaller thing like this. So you can keep doing things like this if I'm trying to do a rectangle, and you can try to do a 1 row 2 column or some crazy stuff you want to do, and I can do things like this. And if you want to insert an image, you can do an image here. By default, I'm placing a placeholder image there, and the text box is basically very similar to these shapes, but they're just text box. Okay, so this is about this Grid Shapes feature, the second one, and the last one, Google Map image. This is available for Google Docs and Google Sheets, I think. Very similar stuff. So basically, it's going to allow you to insert a Google Map as image to your slides. Okay, so by default, I'm using New York City. So enter an address you want to insert, and then you have this map type you can select, if you are a hybrid or something like that, and then you have the settings for the markers, so marker size, color, label, and the size of image you want to insert. Okay, so if I'm doing an insert by address to this page here, then we are insert a map like this, and you can use by coordinates. Okay, so use by coordinates, just you need to enter the latitude and the longitude for your address, and then I think it's going to do the same thing. And so another thing I'd like to share here about this Google Map image. So I think a better way to use it is to using a shape you already have layout, or you already resize it, and then you select it, and then you try to insert a map to replace this shape. So in this way, I think it's a little bit easier for you to insert a perfect image, because if this size is not fit the element you want, if you want to resize it to a different shape, you will see it's going to be stretched. It's not going to resize automatically, because the ratio is fixed to the width and height you entered here. If the aspect ratio is different of the shape you want to create it into this slide, it's going to be a little bit, it's not perfect. So in this way, I think the better way to do it is to select a shape or an image here, and if I'm trying to replace, add a map here for maybe for, I don't know, Tokyo, Japan here, and going to replace this OneScript logo with this map. So this time, if I select the element here, so this width and height won't be used. Okay, so this time, I'm trying to insert, and then you will see replace it. And the aspect ratio is using this as a reference, so this is almost perfect insert for this map. Okay, so I think that's all the features we have so far in this add-on. And if you have any feedback about OneScript or OneScript for Google Slides, you can use this feedback feature here to send me a feedback. Okay, so I think that's it for this video. Thank you. Bye-bye.